muted at the beginning, and I was joking.
Have you heard about the talk of the town? There's a new kid laying it down, don't you know? Girl can move. You can feel it when she walks into the room. Hair on fire, electric blue, don't look now. She's catching a
How many times did you sit back just relaxing? Understand movements coming in, yeah, we got the packs in. I don't really want to see no more traffic.
And welcome to Kathy and Susie's Kids. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Matthew Brooks. How you guys doing?
And guess what, guys? We're here with Gulfport Mayor Billy Hewes.
Mayor Hewes. What's up, man?
Man, it's y'all. Everything's good.
What's been going on, man?
You name it. It's one-arm paper hanger business here. We just kind of grab and go and make the best of it, get through this COVID thing, and I think we can see some light at the end of that tunnel. But it's a busy time in Gulfport.
I bet so. So let's start with what got you into politics?
Man, I think it was what I'd call a natural progression. It might not have been with any direct intent, but as far as back as I can remember, I always had a drive to be involved in things, in organizations. And matter of fact, my wife and I, we met in the 4th grade. Paula and I did. Of course, she had cooties back then.
That's a story in itself.
But we went to school through about middle school, and it was at St. John. And I wanted to do more. I wanted to do, band and music and some sports, but I mostly wanted to do that in extracurriculars. And so told my folks I wanted to go to public school, so I ended up at Harrison Central, and man, it was the best thing I ever did for me. She continued at St. John, didn't see each other again until about sophomore year in college, and then she didn't have cooties.
Then she didn't have cooties.
Okay.
Or maybe I wanted to catch her cooties. I don't know.
So they always say when you see or when you know. Did you know in the 4th grade or no? It wasn't until the recollection.
No, but I knew when she walked in that door at the Robert E. Lee Showboat. I don't know, yes, a little before y'all's time, but a lot of folks listening probably know
1986.
exactly what I'm talking
Yep,
about.
86. I was
No,
we don't want to tell on y'all, but man, that's awesome. Y'all been married for how many years now?
35.
35.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What's the secret of that?
Listen,
Okay.
and I tell everybody, make sure you kiss them at night before you go to bed, no matter what the mood, no matter what the time. But it really has been one heck of a partnership. 4 kids later, and she's still putting up with me.
Well, you lucky then.
You ain't wrong.
No, so as we got some photos showing you guys, one thing that I'll just right off the bat have to respect is, of course, your family. I could tell you right now, it's family values. Just with all the finding the photos, seeing the family values. But one thing I do love is the Halloween.
Yes, the Halloween.
Dude, you've took Halloween to another level. Like the dress up. It's
Well, you grew up, and my mother made our costumes, and we just did it. We were into it. My birthday is late October, so Halloween was just a thing for me. But Paula, she plays along pretty well, and she's very supportive. And it's a love story. I mean, we just I brighten when I think about her and talk about her. But when she walks into a room, you automatically feel like you know her. She's just that kind of person, very engaging, smart as heck, and just a whole lot of fun. And so when we do. We work hard, but when we play, we enjoy each other's company, and then whether it's a Halloween party or a Mardi Gras crew or just going out with family, we try to make the most of it. And she's a baby of 8, and so that's a wonderful and interesting family dynamic with that large a family. And when we get together,
that's a big family.
Yeah, I'm an only child, so.
Look, we'll adopt you because what's one more?
Right. Okay, I'll tell you.
But it's. There's always, a lot of food and fellowship and fun, and so you throw both our families together, and you got a ready-made party. And it's not about throwing down all the time. It's just about enjoying each other's company, catching up, and appreciating. As a matter of fact, our whole crew through the years, we get away, we disappear for a week at Thanksgiving, and we get cabins at Flint Creek.
Nice.
And it's nothing fancy, but I think that's the point.
Yeah.
You take a nap if you want, you eat as much as you want or not, but there's a lot of fellowship because, as close as you are as family, as we grow, and everybody moves off, you don't have the time together that you think you would. And so there's an appreciation there.
Amen to that. I mean, that's one thing I know about getting older. It's hard to make time.
You know, Emily was talking about she teaches at Pearl River Community College.
Yeah.
And she brought up Flint Creek. She said, why don't we get a cabin, you know, and go down there and hang out?
We used to go to Paul B. Johnson some whenever I was a kid.
Yeah, I went with you a few times.
Same kind of experience. It's just kind of getting out in the woods and just chilling.
So I go to the hunting camp to do that, but I'm like all about some air conditioning.
So
I'd have to get a cabin.
Hey, we got Laura Miller. That's the Diamond Championship Wrestling. Looking forward for this pandemic to be over. They have a local wrestling scene.
Sure.
She did tell me she was trying to get it somewhere over in Gulfport so they could get a hosting of their championship. So we need to talk
It's
about
incredible
that.
family fun. And we did it. They do it in downtown Ocean Springs. It's
Wow.
a blast, and everybody like Cam and Kane.
Yep.
They bring their kids, and they all know the wrestlers are kind of from Van Cleve and Mobile.
That's really good stuff. With everybody coming out, people are just looking for stuff to do, and I think that's why you're seeing these huge crowds at these venues, just because everybody's got a year and a half of cabin fever.
Itching up.
Yeah, that's right. And we've actually had some inquiries recently about some, cage matches and bare knuckle fights and wrestling and everything. So there's a lot of folks, both promoters. My daughter, Sarah Margaret, she lives in Nashville, but she's home for a few weeks doing some work because she's in the music business, and she is a tour manager.
Nice.
I
I bet she's seen some cool stuff.
She has. She's traveled the world, but COVID killed her year last
Talk
year.
about an itch.
She had
Imagine
work.
not being able to.
No,
tour.
I mean, they got literally shut down. So she went from making a living to not having one. And there's a lot of folks across the country, around the world, that in that business industry is looking to get back. Every time they got a little ray of hope, well, there's another breakout, so they push it back again. So it'll probably be 2 years that industry's totally out of work. Artists, the support staff, the roadies, everybody who goes with it, the managers,
Right.
that they're itching to get back on it, and it's been devastating to them. A lot of them are
Yeah.
so because of that,
Oh, really?
yeah. So you eat what you kill, and you don't have that steady paycheck. So guess what? You don't qualify for PPP or a lot of this other relief stuff because of the type of contracting work that you do. So they they fall into a hole. But she's doing whatever it takes to pay rent right now.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I hate to hear that.
John, the Boothby family, keep working hard, Mayor.
Hey, John.
I just got to keep because they'll keep going. Ivan Spinner, Boothby for governor.
If we could get him off the golf course, we might do that.
Yeah, Boothby, best podcast ever. They're having a blast. Ben says Boothby eats fish with skin still on the side.
Comment section like
no,
that.
that explains a lot.
And had a great breakfast with Billy. Shout out to Ivan. Ivan thinks you're an amazing guy. And Matt McDonald, shout out to you, buddy.
Yeah.
We'll be co-hosting the Crawfish Fest with Matt McDonald.
Did you really have to tell people he was my friend?
One of the best.
He is awesome.
Oh, man,
really great.
he's a storyteller.
Well, real and fake. So, but he's a good one.
Well, fishermen, everybody that
There
fishes
you
is
go.
good at that,
Okay,
right?
We're all around the same table.
Yeah, we're all from the coast. I mean, we know what's going on.
So you're a Harrison Central boy. Cam and Kane are Harrison Central boys. Chandelier right here.
That's a man. You talk about a homegrown, awesome, just success story. And these guys love what they do, and it comes through in the interaction you get from them, and the product they put out there. They love this coast.
Absolutely.
And they're out there. What makes me mad, they figured it out to have fun and do it, and they're out on the water as much as anybody, which is really great.
Smart.
So I just get to hear about it.
Yeah, what did Ricky say? When we were at Ricky's house, we're filming some stuff for Ricky Audemont. He was on his pier, and he goes, well, Cam usually passes by now.
It was Monday.
It was Monday. He's like, we usually see Cam pass by the house.
We just live vicariously through them.
That's right. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Are you big into fishing?
I love it. I love chasing this trout.
So we talked about Chandelier a little bit.
Yeah.
When's the last time you went out there?
I got to go, I think, twice last year.
During
And just,
COVID? I guess mayor's a busy job.
People say, oh, you get to go all the time.
They say that to me too. It's not like
I
that.
wish, but there's nothing like it. But I love getting in it and just wade fishing because you just got to get away, and that way you can do it. You get in the elements, and there's something
No
about
phone
that
calls,
being
no
out there.
emails?
No, sir. No, reading a good book, get an ice chest full of whatever you like, and eat what you catch, and then bring some more just in case you don't. Because after a while, you realize it's not always about catching; it's just about being out there.
You ain't lying.
And if
Camaraderie.
and if you're catching, it's lanyap.
I've never really been out in the water, so this year is going to be a good year for me.
Yeah, 2021 is looking bright.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn.
Yeah.
So take us back to, I know, we discussed some things prior to you coming on the show, but, you went to Southern Miss.
Yep.
And then you got left there and you just went straight into insurance, right?
I did. I was at Southern Miss in 1984, and some fantastic years. And you talk about making lifelong friends.
Oh, I know how it goes.
So I've had outstanding, just wonderful experience, and still in touch with a lot of them. But no, I came back home. My father had an insurance agency, and Nationwide hired me right out of college, and we merged our agencies and worked together for a while. Then he split off into real estate. I bought his portion of the insurance book and continued with insurance and got my real estate license as well. And the business has grown. Went from when he started it. We're in business over 40 years now on this coast.
Wow, that's a staple, man.
And I grew up in Orange Grove when it was when Highway 49 was barely a four-lane road, and you could ride your bike everywhere. There was a pine savanna. As far as you could see, a lot of wildlife and stuff. It was a cool place to grow up and be a kid and, ride a bike just about every freaking where you wanted to go.
And you didn't get a four-wheeler or dirt bike or anything?
I didn't need it, man. I wore the spokes.
I was
off
too
a
fat and
swim.
lazy for the bike.
Yeah.
This is true.
Lived on it. But yeah, and so I got a 7-year itch, and thankfully it wasn't a marital kind. It was a career kind. And again, when I got home, I continued my involvement in extracurricular activities from the JCs and the Rotary Club and just all sorts of organizations. And one thing led to another. I said, well, maybe I could step it up a notch. And I had the audacity at age 29 to run for the state Senate. And
Ooh, this is that picture right here. I'm sorry. I've been pulling some pictures, guys, because this is one of my favorite pictures. Powerful picture right here.
Yeah, that's got some JFK-esque to it right there.
Okay, so that one was when George W. came to the coast for the first time.
Okay.
And Haley Barber was the governor. Amy Tuck was lieutenant governor. Yeah. And
how old were you in that picture right there?
gosh.
Early 30s?
Early 30s, yeah.
Look at that powerful right there, Billy Hewes.
And so anyway, it was really remarkable to meet a president, but to have the opportunity to be there with a lot of those folks and make a difference, in policy measures and stuff. So jumped right in with both feet. What was some of the funny part? I was so young looking that it took people a couple of years to realize I wasn't a senior page, that I was actually a member of the Senate.
So let's rewind for those that don't know. You were successful in the real estate, successful in the insurance, and then you dove off into the Senate, and then needless to say, you were successful there too, right?
It was probably one of the greatest experiences. Being in the legislature, it's a chess game, and I didn't appreciate it at the time, the fraternal aspect of it. But you are removed from home. The good news is you only there for 90 days for the most part, and then you come back and you're back at home in your district, but reconnecting with your family. And, you got to get home every weekend. So again, Paula was the key, supporting me, understanding that for 90 days and sometimes more, she was a single parent, with the exception of weekends.
Right.
Of course, then I'd come home. She said, "I'm nothing but a
big family.
big toy." Yeah, without a doubt. So remarkable, and she allowed me to do that, and I was able to serve on the national level representing Mississippi through various organizations. In my last term, I was fortunate to be selected by my peers as Senate President Pro Tem. So I really got to play at a pretty significant level as far as the crafting of policy, the direction of legislation took, and working with the members too. So it was really I have very fond memories of all that.
Can we take it, and dissect that a little bit? Because I'm curious, you see local people and they don't know how any of this stuff works most of the time unless they do their research. And a lot of times it's not displayed or anything. But take us through the process of okay, we want something to happen. Then we have to lobby for it. Then we have to write a bill for it. And then it gets put in act.
Wow, that's a really great question. And I'll try to condense it a little bit. First of all, the legislative process is called a laboratory of democracy. And I didn't appreciate that till I got to the local level, and I'll get to that in a minute. But everything we do or did up there is largely theoretical. You got an idea, you need something changed. Right now, wake zones out in Back Bay, that sort of thing. And you got to go and get it through the DMR. You got to convince them it's a good idea, then get it changed in legislation a lot of times. As a matter of fact, we split the DMR off from Wildlife and Fisheries because we felt Wildlife and Fisheries didn't have enough of a care or a clue about what goes on with the saltwater fisheries aspect of it, and it needed specialized attention. So in concert with Senator Gillott of Biloxi, we were able to get that established decades ago. But But the process for a bill, there's old saying, a good bill is a dead bill.
I've heard that.
And so every session there are over 4,000 bills introduced by 172 members of the House and Senate combined, and you got to pare those down in 90 days to get them through the House and the Senate, and then back and forth both ways. You flip the script as far as how the bills come. The House trades the Senate bills, the Houses that are live. The Senate trades the Senate bills that are live. They go through the same committee process. Then they get to the floor. What the public usually sees is the floor action when you get there. So you never see the behind
pre-party.
the scenes, the filtering really of getting rid of and paring down a lot of bills. And then you get to where we are right now in the really the last 2 to 3 weeks of session. That's when the negotiations start, because there's always differences. The bill may generally have A, B, C, D, and E. Well, the trick is you like A and B, but you can't stand C, D, and E. So you either try to, in the negotiation, in the conference process, to say, let's get these out, or if we can't, I got the bill that's got all 5 of those. Do I vote for it or against it? It's never, it's only about A or only about B. And so that's where folks get frustrated. Well, I didn't like this part about it, so I didn't either. But that's
Compromise.
That's how compromise and negotiations work. And some folks don't like hearing this, but legislators, they have to be creatures of accommodation. And what I mean by that, they got to listen to folks, because nobody has a monopoly on good ideas. And one of the things I learned early on, I was talking to a constituent who's very passionate about a particular measure. I was passionate about a measure that was not totally in opposition to that, but they weren't complementary. And we finally just got to a point we couldn't agree totally on something. We had some fundamentals, but in the larger sense, we couldn't. He said, you know what, my dad told me something a long time ago, and he was in politics. If both of us agree on everything, one of us isn't necessary.
That's true.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So, we don't want to be alike. We don't need to be alike. And that applies to our community as well. The differences tend to make us better if we'll look at them in the right vein.
In the right vein. And it's all about compromise and give and take always, And
Yeah.
Up there in Jackson or whatever, both parties, all parties, you get along with some people, right? I mean, up there, you gotta have friends on both sides, right?
You get along with most people.
Okay.
Because we have a citizen legislature, and man, let me tell you, we got folks from all walks of life up there, city folk, country folk, and everything in between. And actually, once they get to that level, most of them are good eggs, and they may have philosophical differences, and you understand that, but hopefully you're trying to find that commonality. What I'm told is happening on the DC level is they don't break bread together, they don't spend time together, they get in their little silos and jab at each other. At the state level, it doesn't happen to that degree. You're always going to gravitate to people who have interests like you,
right?
Whether it's fishing or hunting or playing music or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's just a natural thing, but that doesn't mean it's exclusive to other folks. But when you get on the floor, you've got a constituency to represent. They elected you because of your philosophical bent. You've got bills that you are sponsoring that you're trying to get passed, and so it's. I don't know if it's the war of business or the business of war. When you get down on there, you've got a job to do. But once you do, the field is the field, and you leave it. And if you're able to develop those relationships, hopefully that engenders some trust.
Oh man, and benefits growth.
Well, if you get where you can trust, if you trust me, I'm going to tell you the truth, even if it's ugly.
Right.
Most people can accept that, and when you work through it, and if you don't like it, you don't vote for it. But you don't have to make it personal or ugly. The thing is, it's just like in life. You lie to me one time, your credibility is gone forever. And people think it's all about cash and all that. That doesn't happen unless somebody very rarely is just corrupt. Most folks are good folks in life and even in politics. The only currency we have is credibility.
Right.
That's what we tell you.
Yeah, you got one reputation.
Well, that's it. And you got to, people tell me all the time, my dad was in politics, and they said, I love your dad because I always knew where he stood and what he stood for. And that's kind of a lesson for all of us. Well,
I've said it before on the show, and you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
That's right. That's right.
And a big thing too now is with law and everything. And I'm going to say it because we're on it right now. Social media is just a field day. Like, you guys, check whatever you read because there's a lot of, it's called clickbait now.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's factual first.
Make sure the website doesn't say .wix. You write it's called clickbait. And
yeah, there's a lot of that, and people will just glom on it if it. So, that's man, that strikes just true. So we're in an election cycle right now, And I'll give you one piece of clickbait that it really hacks me off to see it, because it's a group that all it's doing is using this to drive people to their credit scoring business.
Right.
And, they do some financial services and all that, but they come out with a list once a year. I don't think the list has changed since I've been mayor. And it says Mississippi is the worst run city in America or something. I said, that ain't true. How do you get ranked as the most affordable beach town in America? How do you get the number one award 2 years running for city livability from the U.S. Conference of Mayors? How do you get the Main Street USA award for what we're doing downtown and for the urban renewal? So I just, but folks say, oh, there's the thing, and it kind of gripes me, not just because they're picking on Gulfport and not doing what I think their homework. Because I said, what's the statistic? What are you basing this on? And
There's none.
And there are none, because we know what a great place we are. And so, but people will use that stuff either just to drive their own agenda or to jab or stick at somebody. So most of the stuff on that, the good and the bad, probably ain't factual or ain't very true.
I feel like it's just people sitting at home that hate their lives and hate themselves, and they want to make other people just
a great
as
thing, though,
miserable.
is there's a younger generation coming up that realize what it is.
And that's good, and they'll do their fact checks and all that sort of thing. But there's some people that just want the easy thing of saying, "Oh man, here it goes." So if you believe the bad, believe the good, and vice versa. But do your homework and figure it out. And the fact of the matter is, Gulfport and the coast are that undiscovered secret. I'm
never leaving.
Well, no, and a lot of people, and more people are coming.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love this city. I've been here 3-4 years now. Was able to have a relationship with Marty Wilson as one of my business partners. He's the godfather of my child, and fell in love with John Carter and all the things that's the city. It was different. I've never, because I'm from Ocean Springs, Latimer, and I've never wanted to go this side. I'll be honest with you. I want to stay over in Ocean Springs. I was living in Goshen at the time too, Hickory Hills.
Right.
So went to Ocean Springs, maybe the beginning of Biloxi, but never experienced Gulfport. And then as we were doing like the Pink Dress Run and we got involved in that, and I fell in love with the city. I fell in with like these hole in the wall restaurants. I should call it great food is what I call them, but they're everywhere, and it's just everybody's so nice. And
I feel like that way about the whole coast, though. I mean, you're big on unity, one coast. That's a big thing, and let's touch on that for a little bit. I mean, when did that kind of kick off?
So I talk about nobody's got a monopoly on good ideas, and so
I'm going to put that on a
about it.
shirt.
So well, here's another one for you. In politics, R&D and research and development, it's rip off and duplicate.
All right, that's I like on too.
So if it's a good idea, take it and run with it. And so I mentioned the JCs. JCs was the Junior Chamber of Commerce, just like the Coast Young Professionals today. Okay, and they had projects, and you competed and all this, and we really jumped in. And when I was president, we were the number one chapter in the state. It was, and we had worked hard and had another great team. That's a team that actually helped me get elected after a few years later. But we said, let's shoot for the moon and the stars beyond, and let's see if we can get a national ranking. So we put it out there. We were pushing. We figured out what our plan was, how to get there, and even if we knew if we didn't get there, we're going to be better off for the effort.
Right.
I mean, really just learn and grow. I got an anonymous card, like a congratulations card in the mail. And I opened it up. I said, well, that's good. It's postmarked from Jackson. Open it up, and every nice, kind, uplifting word on there was scratched out. And it's like, there's no way you're going to get there. You stink, da-da-da-da-da. It was cruel. And I'm thinking, somebody missed the whole point of competition. A cooperation, as Governor Bryant used to call it. We cooperate, we compete, but they missed the whole point. We challenge each other, but we're supposed to bring each other along too. So I said, but that stuck with me because in Mississippi, we tend to eat our own, and we've got the wolf at the door with everybody else stigmatizing our state. And you got folks in the central and north part of the state often stigmatizing the coast.
Oh, yeah, we were coast trash in Oxford, man.
But let me tell you, we've shown that we can pull together. So in being in Jackson, as wonderful as it was, I was a little prejudicial towards our people because we've got to tell them all the time, the food, the people, the economy. We're very diversified. We're very open. We're very considerate, and we're a great mix. We call it a cultural gumbo, right?
Yeah,
It is.
But that makes us rich. So that when I go outside of the state, I know that people are going to judge us by what Hollywood has portrayed us on. and how we've come forward. And, changing that state flag was a big deal.
Oh, 100%.
It sent a great message. It was, really needed to be done. And a buddy of mine, Andy Taggart, y'all may have heard of from Central Mississippi, phenomenal guy, great thinker. He and I kind of joined up to really try to help push that. But the speaker and Lieutenant Governor and the governor really said, we need to go ahead and make this change, and it's way overdue economically, culturally. There's just all the right reasons to do it. But I think it's sensing. I tell people words have weight, but symbols have substance. And that symbol, the old one, did send the wrong message about Mississippi. And so I'm proud we did that and had a role in making that change come about. But it took a lot of people too.
Yeah, that was a move. That was a huge move.
Yeah, that's right there.
Yeah, so I got Ben, One Coast. Donnie Handler, the 228 is where it's at. No doubt, great job. Ryan, was it? He's saying TTT.
Southern Miss to the top.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay. Ricky Ottoman, I'm late. Can you start over? Alan says nice hat. Ricky says Ocean.
Okay.
What?
He was starting over, man.
We're rewinding.
Okay. Ricky Ottoman says Ocean Springs. Word. Look, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I fell in love with Gulfport. We are One Coast, but I'm Gulfport.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal on One Coast. So we started talking. I said, look, when people come here, most of the time they had this I had no idea experience. And what I mean by that is they get here and they've got this preconceived notion about, those of us here in the
no
South,
shoes, no shirt.
and no teeth.
Yeah.
And so they're blown away, and people talk to me. They're so friendly, and the food's great. Then you got a beach. Mississippi's got a beach. And so they look at us as a region. They don't look at us as independent cities. We do. But what's cool about it is that Ocean Springs is different from Biloxi, is different from Gulfport, from Long Beach to Pascagoula to Bay St. Louis,
Preach.
to Waveland,
Yeah, for sure on that
Pascagoula. You can find whatever you want right here. I tell folks we got 2 seasons, hot and really hot. Yeah. But outside, so if you can deal with the heat, man, there's not a better place to be. You don't have gridlock as far as traffic, certainly not relative to Atlanta,
right,
and all these other cities if you've ever been to them. So we're in a really special place. But economic developers, business people look at it the same way. They don't see us as individuals. So instead of letting the folks in Jackson and in the nation divide us over these differences, when they come here, they just think they have a really kick-ass time. And, you want them to do that and tell their friends. We're making ambassadors every day.
Yep.
So that's where the One Coast came from. And what's the coolest thing about it, again, it's not original to me. Danny Geis, Judge Geis, who was mayor of Biloxi when Camille hit in '69.
He was in my Rotary Club.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal guy. Just a lot of wisdom. He tracked me down. He said, Billy, this One Coast, I'm so glad you're talking about it. I'm so glad we are embracing it, because I talked about this back in '69 and we got distracted, but with that, it helped us. It set the tone for us, and we need to just carry it forward. So it's really turned into a grassroots understanding. If you don't get it, if you don't like it, that's cool. It's okay. Nobody's going to force it on you.
Yeah.
Because somebody called and said, when's the first meeting? And who are the officers going to be?
No, this is real. This is real. This is what
Point those
happened.
guys to the Kiwanis Club or
Yeah.
something, because they need people.
Well, that's the point. We've tried to do things and overstructure them, and they failed because of ego or
too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
or it just took too much to organize. So let's just say, this is a mindset of understanding how cool we are, and what we've got to offer, and let folks find out about it.
I think it's really unique what we offer down here.
Now it makes sense with the One Coast, though, because I was digging the logo and now the meaning. It's a lot more.
Well, part of it, in talking to my mayoral counterparts when we started going forward and still talking about it, I said, look, my job is to get everything I can in Gulfport. Okay?
Right.
But I'm not naive. That's not going to happen. Now, am I going to make every effort? Sure. But if I don't get it, I can't be angry because you did. I want you to get it in close proximity, because guess what?
It's going to bring people to you.
Your employees, your workers, they're going to work here or go there or vice versa. We want it in the region, in the area, and we all grow. We all benefit. It's a rising tide lifts all boats.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Matt, grab some questions right here.
All right, let's see. Laura Miller, the coast is the friendliest. I agree with that, Miss Laura. It really is, And it's hard for me. I mean, I know you guys probably deal with the same thing. Everywhere you go, there's somebody and you're always, smiling and laughing and catching up. And how's your family? How's everybody going? So let's see. Josh Brasher says,
That's Mississippi Party Bike.
does he have any?
Yeah.
Does he
Saw
have
him
any
out last
intel?
weekend.
Yeah. Does he have any intel on the back lot?
What is the back lot?
Okay, so the back lot is a concept that we developed with some folks from Main Street, America.
Come on the board of
in.
Biloxi Main Street.
Yeah, and they really do some great things in downtown. So we're looking to, I think Cruising the Coast is the best example of how something organically grows and just explodes. And so our View of the Cruise, which kicks it off on that weekend, on the Sunday. Now we open it up until Saturday, so it's a full weekend in Gulfport, kicking cruising the coast off.
Wow!
But the cars that come, we're outgrowing that immediate downtown area. It's bleeding almost over to the aquarium, but north of the track. So right north of the tracks there is a parking lot, and we wanted to bring some of those containers that you've seen in certain areas, over in Florida.
The Cono box type deals.
Yeah. And so you can put these micro retail or bar or something like that. So it's kind of one of those constructions where there's some outdoor area just to kind of hang and do some social activities in the evening. So we're still trying to find funding for that, but we've got the concept down and a bit of design already worked out.
Really? Wow. Is this like breaking news? Are we breaking this on air right now?
I never knew about this. What's going on here?
Well, nothing ever happens fast in government, and it all comes down to funding and priorities. And you hope that you create enough synergy that the private sector will take it and run with it. That's the preference anyway. Sometimes you have to drive it as a governmental entity, but ultimately, you really want where businesses flourish.
Yeah, no, I mean, anytime you can bring in more, tax revenue to the public revenue, I guess it's not overhead for anybody at that point.
That's impressive, though. I mean,
so, hey, if any of y'all out there listening,
got any investors? Hey, guys,
you want to open up some shops downtown, you guys, who do they need to get with for that? I guess it's still in the preliminary.
No, it's past preliminary. David Parker would be good. Laurie Toops is our Main Street director.
Okay.
But it's right on the rail line. So, and what's cool about that one, the other thing we've been working on, Amtrak is the
David
latest
Parker's
thing.
the guy with the beard right there.
Yeah.
The glasses.
Might be. I can't see it.
No, I know. It's I know David.
Yeah, that's him.
Contact David.
So, but we work towards getting what's called a quiet zone through that area too, so you don't have the train blowing all the time. They'll still come through, but they're just not going to be blowing once we get the signalization there. So,
Wait, are they not allowed to blow?
oh yeah, they have to, because unless you've got certain type of signals there to
Okay.
protect pedestrians and traffic, vehicular traffic. So we're well on the way to get that done. So downtown's going to be a little bit less loud.
That's what's up. But let's take it. You just mentioned the aquarium, man. That's huge for Gulfport, and let alone the entire state of Mississippi. That was a feat to get here, right? It wasn't no overnight project.
Real quick, let's grab these questions just real fast.
Sure.
Emily's questions, I don't even know. Emily's my partner.
Okay.
She'll punch me in the face. She'll unhook the internet right now.
You better take your question.
It says, I have a pageant question. If you have to show an out-of-towner around the coast, where would be the first place you take them? Oh, like a beauty pageant question. I get it now. I got you, Emily.
Well, okay.
If you had to tell someone, or show someone around.
So if I had to take somebody, the aquarium is a must stop, must
Look,
see.
it was a perfect segment leader.
Set it up, Emily. Way to go.
But let me tell you, there are so many great restaurants too. So you want to wow them. In Ocean Springs, I'd take them to to the Walter Anderson Museum. I think it's awesome. The George Orr, the Orr O'Keefe Museum. But there is a new something for anybody in performance and pageantry, that sort of thing, and that is what Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College has just done on the backside of the campus, off of DeBees Road.
Yeah,
I've heard
saw
about
they were
this.
talking about it.
Y'all, this is probably
Theater, right?
It is a performing arts center that is built to Broadway standards. It's the home of the Gulf Coast Symphony, but it is something that you can host just any sort of acts, whether they be the music or Broadway or pageantry. If somebody's looking to say, where would I want to host it? My goodness, that would be the place to go. I'm blown away. I just saw it. The Symphony had just had their first deal a couple weeks ago. So the community needs to discover this gym.
I think Kelly Steps, I think her husband, Kelly Steps, is trying to get in there.
I know a lot
It's
of people
big,
would
right?
be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
doing something in there. I mean, I think that would be a good Jordan and Matthew venue for something that we could put on at some point.
Or the cut bait.
Well, it'd be a pretty high ticket item for that.
Tell us about Cut Bay real quick, Billy. Cut Bay, for those of y'all don't know, is Billy's band.
So, if you've played all your life, there's just some things you can't get out of your bones, and I think I'd rather play than breathe. Sometime I couldn't breathe if I didn't play. But I've been really blessed to be exposed to some really phenomenal musicians, and we've got some great homegrown talent right here on the coast. And y'all probably know, after what ended my legislative careers, I decided to run for statewide office. And there's some lessons of, you talk about God in your life and all that, and understanding that He's got a plan for you.
Right.
You may think you got a plan for you, but He's in control. And Paul and I traveled the state for a year and a half, almost 2 years, running for lieutenant governor. And it's a job I would have loved, and I haven't had that experience there. But in traveling the state, we got friends. As a matter of fact, I had somebody that was involved in our campaign from upstate gave me a shout out today of all days, and just say, "Hey, man, miss seeing you, so and so." But we left it all on the field. But we lost that race, and it's the best thing that never happened. At the time, I was just glad the race was over,
Right.
And get to come home and relax a little bit. But it was a break that I didn't realize I needed, and we weren't. I learned. My dad made sure I understood about good sportsmanship, and I've learned that the only thing worse than a sore loser is a sore winner. And but so we left it on the field. We went home, got to know each other again, and got back down to business. And one of those things we got down to is I reconnected with my bandmates, and we started playing and doing a lot of cover tunes. So Johnny Polis, who with the Highway Patrol, y'all got to have him on.
We should, yeah.
And he's got a buddy he grew up playing with, James Roberts, and James Roberts is a phenomenal guitarist. If you close your eyes, you think he was Eddie Van Halen. And then a guy I grew up in Harrison Central with, Troy Rogers, and a fellow named Todd Mullins on bass and keys. Both of those play bass and keys, so they're interchangeable. James plays drums, and I can jump out and do whatever. So pretty versatile group. Alan Ritter sits in with us as well. He's related by marriage, and he's with the Radio Mojo. That's his band as well. So we've got. And Mike Landwehr, a guy out of Biloxi.
Man, y'all got enough to fill this arena.
So what it is, it's you got a core, but we got enough guys that come in and out. So not everybody plays at the same time. It's usually a setup of 5 of us, give or take. And so we did it, and I started writing, and I built a studio at the house and started doing some stuff. And we hadn't played together in about a year, but we're going to start next month. We only play festivals and stuff. We're too old to play clubs and bars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got.
And I'm not hauling equipment anymore.
You don't have roadies for that?
No,
not yet.
That's exactly right.
Maybe after this podcast,
we're holding off. But anyway, it's a ton of fun, and a couple of the songs that I wrote. One of them with Troy, one with a guy with Todd and Bucky Cole. Y'all may know Bucky. He's got his own band.
Guys, give us a second. We're gonna play a little bit of She's Got Moves. Is that it?
She's got the moves.
She's got the moves.
So we're gonna play this real quick, and we'll be just you got to hear this. This is impressive.
I'll tell you about the horn arrangers in this one too.
All right, let us play this, and we'll be right back.
Have you heard about the talk of the town? There's a new kid laying it down, don't you know? Girl can move. You can feel it when she walks into the room. Hair on fire, electric blue, don't look now. She's catching a groove. I don't know where she come from.
All right, guys. That Billy Hewes wrote that and performed it, and I'm pretty sure you recorded it.
Yeah, we did, and a couple of our songs have actually made it into soundtracks.
What?
Yeah,
That's really cool.
I got a few years ago. I got my first royalty check. It was $2.22.
Cheers! I know you got water right now, but yeah, there you go.
So but it's a passion and it's a love, and everybody's got their thing. And if you don't have your thing, you need to find one, because you got to have an outlet. You got to find something to do with somebody. Most importantly, but music is it's just something you find the right chemistry, and you can get it.
I know that. That's how I started.
Can you
playing when I
read?
was 12.
Can you read music?
Very slowly.
I can't. That's what they taught me when I first took lessons. I was probably 11, 12 years old. And I remember him teaching me, how to read the treble clef and the scale and, all the notes. And about 6 months in, I'm like, dude, I just want to rock and roll.
Well, that's kind of what we do too. We don't have much hair to let down anymore, but we let it go. And it's a real cool mix. On Cut Bait, we were at a music festival in Louisiana. There's a band called Alive Bait, and one of the guys said, "Well, hell, at least we're Cut Bait,
That's where it stuck. That's where you
and
got
it stuck. So,
That's good.
So we just had a little fun with it and don't take ourselves too seriously. And we actually try to play some things that are not super obscure, but kind of like, I heard that on the album. I've never heard a band play that. And so, and the other rule is there's so many songs out there. If you as a band member don't like it,
Don't play
it's
it.
gone. We don't play it. And so don't ask us to play Brown Eyed Girl or Sneaking Sally Through the Alley.
Oh, somebody says Brown Eyed Girl, you says every whit?
Yeah, all of that. So
What's your go-to? Like if we were to bust off into one right now and you had to go 1, 2, 3, 4, what are we going into?
Well, I need the band for that, but we'd probably hit some Toto. Hold the Line would probably be
Solid.
Yeah, that's.
and then a little Steely Dan, Josie.
I'm cool with that too.
I got to see it at Shandy Fest,
Yeah.
and that was incredible.
Wasn't that
I didn't know. I was like,
so much fun.
because that's right when I was moving to Gulfport, and they're like, "That's the mayor." I was like, "What?" They're like, "That's the mayor jamming out right now." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I mean, y'all did a great set though. I mean, it was, guys. It's some music that if you go to it's a live. Y'all play live music where you get out, you dance a little bit, you have a good time. It's got the atmosphere and everything.
Yeah, you got to have good stage presence.
Oh, for sure.
Well, the festivals are fun. The crowds really get into that. So it's not like people, kind of hanging out in the bar and your background noise. So been there, done that.
How much do you enjoy unplugging as mayor and going and doing stuff like that? I mean, not that you're not still the mayor while you're doing it, but I mean, surely you're not.
You don't have to wear a suit all the time.
Yeah.
You mean like now?
Yeah, right now. I know.
No, that's therapy.
Right. That's how I feel about this.
That and fishing, And now we got a grandbaby, so he's pretty awesome too. So it's a lot of fun.
Got your hands full.
I hope.
So have you taken the grandbaby to the aquarium yet?
Yeah, we did. He gave him a sneak peek, but he's just not quite 2. So it's anything that moves or is colorful or whatnot. He's into everything right now, especially if it's water.
Really?
Yeah.
So, all right. What else is going on in Gulfport? You got any other insight for us, or some new stuff you guys are popping off with? Or?
So you were asking about the aquarium. When we came into office, one of the dividends from the lieutenant governor race was that we had such name ID and had run so hard and served Gulfport for the time that we did that I didn't have an opponent. So it gave me months in advance when Mayor Slogel determined he was not going to run, and it became clear that I didn't have an opponent. We started putting citizen groups together to say, okay, what do you think our needs are? Where do we need to go? Because I knew the state, I could do all that, and I had an idea of Gulfport, but you want to hear folks who are there every day.
Right.
One of the things that was very clear is the coast was a great place for adults to come and play. But outside of the beach and the Children's Museum, a few others, there wasn't a whole lot for families. And again, we go back, so we had an aquarium. It was, marine life would bring in 200, 300,000 people a year.
We took field trip there every year.
There you go. And so we thought that might have been the best thing. So we kind of looked at that, but we also at the same time we're looking at urban blight. We've got a lot of places that just did not come back after the storm. And even today we've got some of that. But we wanted to make a point in Gulfport to find these areas. And so the finest piece of land overlooking the state of Mississippi was where the First Baptist Church of Gulfport used to be, overlooking the finest harbor, I would argue, on the Gulf of Mexico. They had spent over $40 million redoing the actual small craft harbor, and it is an awesome.
$40 million?
You have the green. Well, they had to redo every bit of the piers. The devastation was complete. It was utter. So the ellipses that you have there, the great walking space, and so what could complement it, what could overlook it, and what could be impactful? How do we really get more people to utilize Jones Park too?
Right.
And we'll talk about the Harbor Lights Festival in just a minute.
Been there, done that.
Which is the number one draw in Mississippi and in the top 5, I think, in America for Christmas displays in just, 5 years?
That's impressive.
That's pretty strong. So there was a lot of consensus that if we could do an aquarium and do it right, not only would we elevate our game, but we thought and believed and now know that it would be a catalyst for additional development in the area. So we start working it, and there's a lot of behind the scenes, and it took literally over 7 years to get it from concept to the reality we have today. The beauty of it right now is that we were concerned that COVID would really deplete and diminish the number of people who are going there, because they have to get about 350,000 people a year to break even, okay, to make it work. And so, that's a lot of folks. Well,
That's crazy stats that they could pinpoint it all the way down to that.
well, but they do.
I know.
You have to do that before you even develop it, right? I mean,
You have to do market studies. You have to do economic impact studies and all that. And so, they came out with these numbers. I said, well, let's make them more conservative. If we could make it on X number. I said, no, I don't want to make this look sweeter. I want to have a very realistic picture on what it's going to be.
that's smart.
Well, COVID's killed everything.
Everything.
And so what is happening, and this week is a great example, they are on pace, if not ahead of pace, even in COVID, to meet their numbers right now. And we haven't even gotten into the tourism season.
Wow.
They opened at the end of the last tourism season, so they kind of missed a whole summer,
that whole
but they
dud.
weren't going to open before they were ready. But most people say what I'd hope they would say without being prompted, and they say nobody is going to believe this is in Mississippi. And the main thing, it couldn't be Gulfport's aquarium. It couldn't be the Coast Aquarium. It is Mississippi's aquarium. And talking to Speaker Gunn one time, kind of said, look, we want this to be the state to have a role in it, as well as the locals and the philanthropic activities. And he said, I said, look, you just did $100 million Civil Rights and Historical Museum in Jackson. And I think that was the thing we needed to do to showcase the history and heritage of our state. But we've got a history and heritage on the coast, and it is maritime based, but we want to tell Mississippi's story, brown water to blue water,
Right.
With this aquarium. And he said, well, where would you put it? I said, well, where wouldn't we put it? And it is on the coast, and I'm so glad it's in Gulfport and overlooking that. So Patio 44, they built because of the aquarium. Centennial Plaza, $90 million because of the aquarium. The Markham Hotel, it's a ways from getting completed, but it's been fixed up, and as the market builds, they'll continue to work on that.
Now that's that cool building with the orange the piping,
There's old rusted piping on the side, isn't it?
Well, what that is, that's just when they were gutting it. So they've taken all the old
that's like
bad
the
stuff
chute.
out. That's a chute to send it all down. So that should be gone. But one of the things, the concepts, everything's a concept until you get it going.
Right.
But they're talking about doing a kind of an old grand hotel with a rooftop bar, rooftop restaurant.
that'd be badass.
Could be awesome.
I got a picture of that like before you did the remodel, and I'll get it printed out for you so you can have it.
Oh, sure.
But because I do photography, so I have one really I wish I would have put it in the live thing, guys. I'm sorry, but it's beautiful. Like that's one of my favorite buildings to take photography of.
Yeah.
Just because it's so unique.
What's the history on that?
It is iconic. I wish I could recount it for you, but it's probably 1920s
it's gotta be
era,
old.
and just every city. We've lost so much of our historic architecture, and so you've got that. You've got Centennial Plaza, but outside of that, Katrina took most everything that Camille had not taken.
Right.
And so, you continue to look at the catalyst component, and, Memorial Hospital is seeing the growth here. They put, a $60 million addition that they just finished a couple of years ago. You had Rick Carter expand the Island View Casino with that multi-million.
No smoking, guys. No smoking.
There you go. And then we've got, a lot of people don't know about the Job Corps Center near the CB base. It's old, and it is antiquated, and it needed some upgrading. And it's going to be a $30 million improvement that is remarkable look. So there's so many things going on. And then you talk about the blue economy. People say, well, what the heck's that? So Southern Miss has a presence down on the port, and they retooled their marine sciences. They have the School for Oceanographic Enterprise. And that is in concert with the building that you're seeing down there by the water on the port. Oh. It's a Roger Wicker Center.
Super nice looking, cool, modern looking building.
Yeah, research and development. So it's kind of a 3 or 4 story version of that Southern Miss building up on 90.
Do they got a sub?
They very close to it.
That's awesome.
So they've got
Submarine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a sandwich.
Well, no, not at all. So what they've got is unmanned underwater drones.
Awesome.
Oh, snap.
So it's these what they call autonomous drones for water, and that's where so Raytheon will become a naval oceanographic and NOAA are going to be occupying that building. So we're talking 200 to 300 science, high-tech jobs coming right into the area. So it takes a lot of time, but everything is starting to come together. The port, $500 million in improvements. It is a state-of-the-art facility, and they're looking to bring a pretty large concessionaire in. Hopefully there'll be some announcements on that. So
Bigger than Chiquita.
Hey guys, if you would be interested, me and
Chiquita's
Matt, to
pretty big.
get out with the mayor and kind of see some of these very unique developments in Gulfport that I had no clue about.
So we're just scratching the surface, is what I'm saying.
That is incredible, though.
Just some remarkable, but everything seems to be a slog. Sometime you call it bureaucratic red tape. I said, well, that's your department, isn't it, Billy? Well, not always. My job is trying to get past some of that, but there are things you have to go through. So everything takes time, and I'll give you an example. If you're traveling up around I-10 and 49, the congestion on the weekends, you are going to be in our version of a traffic jam. It's nothing like Atlanta. But we got a $20 million build grant to extend Airport Road up across 49 and then up into up to go across the interstate to in between where the Sportsplex and Anchor Plaza is, which has the Nukes and the Sam's Club and all that area.
Yeah.
And so, but we're having to fight to get through that, to get it done. But Lord, we need that. That will provide so much traffic relief, because what it's going to do, it's going to let people, instead of having to come back to 49, they can go west and get out that artery.
Jump on that route.
And then the next phase, once we get past that, is to try to get the road to Canal Road. So now you have much more access for ingress and egress. And it takes so long to get to that point.
So you got a lot of, so the city, a lot of the older buildings too in downtown, are y'all a part of them? Are some of them building jaws?
Only the ones in the immediate vicinity of City Hall. Most of them are privately owned, privately held. And one of the things we're encouraging the folks down there to do is bring retail back to downtown. 27th Avenue is turned into, in 26th, have that whole historic downtown are really a nice restaurant row, if you will.
Yeah.
And but we think the next step is for downtown living. So loft apartments down there. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, bringing in. And there's another development on the corner of 49 and 90, like a $50 million development, that if they can get the combination of some of these settlement funds, private equity, they will be building a multi-use building that has a parking garage kind of nestled in it, but retail at the bottom and apartments going up. So, and that will serve folks who want to come here, not only millennials, but some of these scientist types that don't want a home. And then you take it, homes. Man, the real estate market is so hot right now because everybody's figuring out that this is a great place to live, and the cost of living is not that bad.
My house went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all making money now.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I was very happy about it.
Well, you right here on what they call the island, this place is kicking too.
Yep.
You just had Marina Cantina.
Shout out to Ben, and real quick. So guys, if you share this, if you have any questions for the mayor, we're live right now. So feel free. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he's in a good mood too. He's telling us all the secrets and everything that's going on.
Say that again.
But if you share this, we're giving away a crawfish and beer hat. This is how we get this is our hats. So this is how our podcast is Kathy and Sue's kids, Jordan, Matthew, and our merchandise is crawfish and beer is ours.
Remember I told you we got 9 there.
Yeah, we're gonna go for 15.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that though.
So the development is a big thing. I could see that being because I have a scooter, and I ride around the city. Like I love the city. Like I go down right here to the beach, and I got an 8-hour. I'm gonna give it to you, but I got 8-hour sleep sound on YouTube, and I took my boom mic, and I've got captured.
Oh man!
And that's how we sleep. It goes black screen, 15 minutes, and we the orange sun we have.
Sure.
It goes down, so you watch it go all the way down in 4K. Yeah. So that's my favorite spot. Guys, don't ever go to my spot. But I take my family. We go get some Wingstop wings. We go sit on the beach. And I'll wait till that's the most beautiful. This is an experience that me and Emily share, and we'll share for the rest of our life.
Well, it's a special place, and that beach has always been an asset to us and for us. And again, people who come here for the first time say, I got this whole walk to myself. I got the beach to myself. Have you ever been to California or the East Coast beaches? Every square inch is taken up by somebody kicking sand on you. and just, noise and people and all that. And you have as much spread out space from one end of Harrison County to the other.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I guess we got an upcoming election, right?
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feeling pretty confident about it? I think you got a good chance here.
Well, you hope. Folks will have me. I'll give one more shot with Paula's permission. But
I love that you say with her permission.
Oh,
man. That's
hey,
awesome.
You got my vote, buddy.
Hey, dude, it's the truth.
Right.
In politics, there's an old rule. They said you either run unopposed or you run scared. And so I've got 2 opponents in the Republican primary and 1 in the Democrat. If I get past the primary in the general, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, man, you've been able to do a lot, and I would say it's short a little amount of time, but no, you've been strategically planning this the whole time. I always say everything happens for a reason, and it sounds like, right out of the gate, you were learning for everything that prepared you for right now.
I think that's fair, and I think that's true with all of us. If we'll look at it in context, you can't see it at the time. Why he put you where he wants you, but there's a reason for it. I believe that. But I read something in a book that there was there's some really Renaissance towns that are across America going through a Renaissance, and ones that stand out are like Chattanooga. Nashville hit it before them, and they're just exploding there at a great crossroads.
Yeah,
in
Austin
Middle
before
America.
that.
Austin before that, but Charlotte. But Oklahoma City, the mayor is a guy named Mick Cornett, and he wrote a book. And in the book, there's this guy he talked to, and he said, successful places don't happen by accident.
And man, and you've been full of good knowledge.
Wow.
Well, I guess you
just read the right books.
Yeah, that's right.
How many books you read a week? One?
Not enough. I usually have 2 or 3 going at the same time, but it takes me a while to finish them. I got one on tape. I got one that's on the table. And
Do you have a notepad too, where you write everything down?
I usually do voice memos. So
I use voice memos too.
yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Scary when Siri starts talking to you out of the blue.
Ain't that the truth? but no, there's some truth to that you have to plan it. But Oklahoma City, Mick will tell you, they did the investments that we're doing now. They did them 20 years ago. So I'm excited about the prospects of what's going to come for this coast. Look, a lot of folks. Do you know what a site developer is?
Yeah.
Okay, they're these people that go nationally, and they're hired by folks like Google and Amazon and others, to find spots. And they tell them, I want a spot that's got this many people, that is walkable within 5.2 miles from downtown, that has this type of thing. It needs to have this median income. I mean, they know what they're looking for before they start looking. And so these developers have to go find it. Up until recently, we, to my knowledge, never had any of those here.
Oh, they're here now.
They have been, and they continue to look. So we were, I'm told, on a short list of a secret project about 3 or 4 years ago. Well, guess what 2 secret projects got built nationwide? Amazon, and they got a lot of projects there, but the Google campus, Apple.
Right.
And so, okay, we didn't get them, but we got people looking for the first time.
You're on the map.
So we're on somebody's map. And they're starting to look and recognize, and guess what? And they said, we didn't go there, but you might want to go check out.
Yeah, and it might not be Amazon. It might be the next Amazon, which hasn't even been developed.
I'm going to mess Lashondra, a B. Hewes original. Michael Butler said the Sands in Gulfport. So Butler Holmes, he's the Sands. He's a Gulfport boy. So the Sands in Gulfport. You never know. I mean, the Gulfport has a lot of development going on.
Yeah. Look, there's all sorts of potential. Now, Lashandra is our public information officer for the
Really?
city.
Awesome, Chandra, give us a like and
She's
share.
remarkable. Yeah.
That's so there's a lot since you've been mayor since what, 2012,
2013.
2013.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a lot in this window you've had. This is a lot of development going on.
So here's another one for you. Reagan had it on his desk. It goes back, I think, attributed to Jefferson and others. But Haley Barber told me this when he was working for Reagan. He kept us on. He said, "There's no end to what you can accomplish if you don't mind who gets the credit."
I struggle with that sometimes.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Don't we all? You think, man, I worked hard for this. I said, man, the gift is in the giving, and if you'll share it and give it, it'll come back to you tenfold. But I say a lot, and you'll see it on the things. It's just not cliche. If I did anything right, we managed to put together a remarkable group of leaders in our directors and setting a tone for working with the city council, not against the city council, because it's going to take us all. We've all got different ideas. Nobody's going to figure it out on their own, or if they do, it's going to be hard getting it done. And so I'll use the Harbor Lights Festival. Rusty Walker, I don't think his mind turns off. He thinks about stuff all the time. And his hobby, just like mine with the music, I'd develop just playing and I ended up doing a studio and all this stuff. Well, he put his hobby on steroids. He had these computerized, his home. People would go at Christmas time and sit in front of his house. He had the radio frequency you could dial into, and he'd play music, and you'd watch these amazing computerized lights dance all over. You've seen the competitions on TV now. Well, he said, if we get a sponsor and we put this thing on steroids and get 65-foot trees, what do you think?
What I know, whenever I went, there was like 9 rows of bleachers in front of it, and they were packed out. We couldn't get a seat because everybody was watching the show.
So it I think it exceeded everybody's expectations. And it was a multi-million-dollar function, and it was largely sponsored by a negotiation with Island View. So Rick Carter, again, he puts his money back into his community.
Oh, for sure.
He's remarkable. He grew up here and he believes in it, and he's doing well. But he's putting money back into it. So that thing was for the public and for the community to extend the tourism season. Boy, the restaurateurs love it. Everybody, the hoteliers love it.
Y'all even got a movie out of it, right? I mean, y'all had I watched that movie like 4 or 5 times.
What movie was it?
What's the movie?
It's a tricky title. Christmas in Mississippi.
Christmas in Mississippi was shot. He was in the movie. He was in the movie. Great movie. Lifetime movie, I believe.
It was a Lifetime movie.
Wait, do you have your own IMDb page?
Do you?
Just a wiki page. No, actually, so I'll come back to that about the music and all. So, but they came to, and that's one of those things they saw it. The director's from Mandeville, and he came over and he said, "Oh my gosh, I got to do a story about it. I got to do a movie about this." And so he did it and came back and brought him in, and it really is one of the more popular movies at Christmas time on Lifetime. So
I'm not trying to knock
cool.
it or anything, man, but me and my old lady, we pick out TV shows to watch together and during Christmas. I think I flipped through like 65 Christmas movies from the Hallmark Channel, and like they were all like had the same
formula.
Yeah, same formula. Like the blonde-headed girl and the brunette guy, and there's a dog on the picture. But I've never met anybody that's been in one.
That's mom. So mom and Scott Lemway, shout out to you. Made my table. My ride or die.
Yeah.
He for every Christmas he forces me to watch the movie.
Well,
but I love it.
It's a good story. What is cool? It's amazing how many people out there. I mean, you forget how many millions of people out there that follow certain one thing or another. And Hallmark's got a following. Lifetime's got a following.
Man. Oh, sure.
But the artists themselves do, and so people would come and watch and just travel in just to see. Richard Karn, who was on Home Improvement, or Barry Bostwick, who was, who's been around forever. What's Hope's name? Anyway, so what happened with that, we had people all of a sudden when they first aired, they said, well, where can we get the T-shirts that the crew wore that said, Harbor Lights, and all that. And so those sell. People come and they want to eat at Murky Waters. They wanted to eat at Triplet Day because that's where some of the scenes were filmed. And, we got to talk, and we usually get to know these folks. And so they asked me if I would be interested in doing a song for the movie. I said, you got to be kidding me. They said, yeah, you're right. I said, yeah, but they said, well, give it a crack. So I wrote one that was traditional, and had all the holiday bells and all this kind of stuff. I said, this is pretty good. And
how much fun did you have doing that?
Too much. So I showed it to them. They said, well, this is good, but what? They said, well, we wanted something more Mississippi. I said, okay. So I went and did a contemporary Christmas song, and I said, this is even better, story, because it followed the storyline. I said, I'm going to throw a little harmonica in it. That'll get them. And they said, golly, that's good too. But I said, what? They said, we really wanted something kind of more bluesy. I said, why didn't you say so? And we were on a tight time frame then. So again, Bucky Cole and Todd, we sat around literally on the kitchen table and plugged in and started playing and putting it together. I'd already written the lyrics for it, and they liked it so much. I figured it'd just be a 8-second snippet in the song. They open and close the movie with that song.
Awesome.
I think Chitlins is going to be playing
That's
at the Crawfish Festival. Shout out to Rebecca. The Chitlins, we're going to see them out there at the event.
Cool.
So writing songs, that's got to be difficult.
No,
Not at all.
my grandparents, I didn't appreciate it at the time, but they must have seen something. One Christmas they gave my brothers toys, but they gave me a thesaurus. I said, that is just cruel. That is cruel.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
But looking back, I absorbed that thing. I didn't have an appreciation, but I love the English language, and I read it front to back and used it, and I just like the interplay of words, and so I'm probably better with the lyrics than I am with actually the song chord progression and those sorts of things. So it just kind of comes to you.
So we got Cam. Is it Cammy?
Cammy Britt Bullock says y'all should host a town hall. Definitely down for that.
I'm down.
You guys would be great with that. Yeah.
BC. Well, you guys have officially made it one of the Mississippi's leading public servants. True. Thank you. That means a lot.
That's mighty
Mom, I
kind.
hope you're proud. Emily says, don't knock Hallmark. They are awesome movies.
They are.
Matt, your girl saying what? What Popcorn Plus?
Popcorn Plus LLC was in the movie.
That's his family business.
Yeah.
Nick, our Neptune brother, says, good stuff, fellas, Matthew and Jordan. Now, this is why we love being live with the people, because they really get the and the
great.
fact that now people know our write songs, it's been in a movie. You love the community. You love the city of Gulfport.
I love this coast.
You're rocking a shirt right now that says Gulfport, Mississippi.
And you got your Southern Miss hat on.
Amen.
With the Mississippi
top.
on it to the top.
So and I'm going to bring this up because this is very important to me, but like you talk about Rick Carter. So a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, we started the Pink Dress Run, me and John, kind of as you were there when we first started. It was kind of let's go raise some money. Let's have some fun. Well, it's been starting to grow. We decided to stay local with Gulfport Memorial Foundation. Guys, if anybody's interested in sponsoring or volunteers this year, October 23rd, we will be out there. It's a city event. It's a part of us. It's a local event. It's all about breast cancer. Liz, I'm pretty sure she's in the chat. If y'all have any questions, but like I said, that money with Memorial, what Memorial's doing for us is when we donate the money, which we hit $26,000 during the coronavirus. That's $26,000 that what Memorial does is you take that money and it helps local breast cancer survivors and patients, and it's something that's it's a fight every day. Coronavirus is it's there, but breast cancer is it's never going to stop, and that's something that my legacy for my son is going to be that, and I appreciate Gulfport being in Chandelier and all the people we have around. Yes, wearing a pink dress, but we're raising money. We're making a difference in Gulfport.
Well, it's a strong legacy. And our police chief, Leonard Papania, former chief, he was all into it. And
I got a picture. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I will pay money extra for him not to wear a pink dress next to him.
Chief, that's the old chief to the left and the new chief in the middle. And that's our mayor right there
right.
in a suit with cool ties.
Yeah, where you get your ties at?
Yeah, where do you get the ties at?
All over my ties and my socks. They don't ever match, and they're always a little loud. So I got to wear these boring suits, and so you got to liven it up a little bit. Yeah, that's right. Spaz is a good word for me. That'd be good. Yeah.
So no particular store, no shout outs? People want to steal your style?
SF Allman is my go-to on Courthouse Road. They're remarkable, and Farrell gives a lot back to the community. You don't go to a Farrell and Rose. You don't go to a silent auction anywhere that you don't see one of their products there.
I see them everywhere.
But they are fine quality. But we've got a lot of great retailers all across, but they do specialize in some pretty neat, very nice
I got one we want to I asked you about this question on this picture right here. The dog park, the trail.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that, because that is something that I had no idea was here.
I had no idea. There's that phrase again.
You hear it a lot, I'm sure.
How cool it is. So, great question. Started looking around, and I went to a conference, the Conference of Mayors I'd mentioned, and the AARP was there, and they were looking for community projects, community improvement projects to fund. And I said, no, John, what about a dog park? Because I'd seen different communities have those, and if people, like their furry critters, They like their pets more than they like people.
Yeah, you know that.
And
Shout out to Ron Rowland too, dude. He's a legend.
speaking of furry people, yeah.
Ron Rowland, life.
But and he's a great partner
yeah.
as well. It really is. So we had an area of the city that was a floodplain that had been brought out and it had gotten neglected. People were dumping tires and just stuff all over it. There were drug deals going down. It was just not a good place. 40 acres of some of the most beautiful property with these hardwoods all along Brickyard Bayou. And so we had a project to deal with flooding and clear out Brickyard Bayou. And that took over a year to do just to get it to help with the flooding in central Gulfport and downtown area. And it's made a difference because we channelized it. But in the process, we also took some time to take a look at this property and what it could be. We started off with the community gardens, and you can see those at the corner of 34th and Gulf, 34th Street, I think Gulf Avenue, just really almost south of the runway for the airport in that vicinity where the old Par 3 golf course used to be.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you got the dog park that's segmented it for large dogs and small dogs. And we said, well, what else can we do with this property? So, well, let's do a nature trail for people to walk. Let's do a bike trail through this acreage that goes all over, and you probably have a picture of that.
Actually, I do not have it.
I put him on the spot.
Yeah, don't do it, Mayor.
All right.
I messed this up, guys. Google it.
But here's what. Again, things just come when more awareness happens. We got an outdoor classroom now, so students go out there.
That's cool.
Some of the botany teachers take their kids to work this community garden too, to teach them, get their hands in the dirt and all that. But one of the neatest things, we took what was a haphazard disc golf course, and there was a few nets and chain things, but there was nothing formal. So we went and got some equipment and got 18 holes, talked to some of the locals.
Hey, Tyson Rossinet, you know what's up.
Yeah,
he
he's
loves
probably
disc
been
golf.
there. But on Sunday, that place is packed with people playing disc golf.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
so there is such a neat, and we're not finished. With this, there's a lot of dreams and hopes that we can do. We'd like to do a kind of a BMX pump track at some point
That'd
out
be neat.
there.
That'd be real neat.
And so it takes money and time, and we're getting there. But that's another blighted property that we took and renewed.
Talk about the fulfillment that you get whenever you get to see a project. Like you said it earlier, it takes you time, but you have the idea, and then you put a plan into effect. And then it may take up to 7, 10, 20 potential years. But once you see like the light at the end of the tunnel, or you see the benefit of the work that you put in, how does that make you feel?
Well, you hope so. And Paula tells me all the time, it's not about you. And she's right. It's about how the community feels. And hopefully we hit the mark right. Seeing our team come together and strive, and usually if you did it right, you're worn slap out, you're tired.
Right.
And we are.
No doubt.
But you do stuff like that, and there's not anything I haven't asked for our team, from our leisure services, which does the harbor lights. They do all the parks. They are nonstop. It's relentless work. Our public utility, our utility partners, our public works, our economic development and urban development. These folks are on it all the time, and it's really wonderful to see them work and see them take an idea that I have and really perfect it and make it work a whole lot better, bringing something, going and getting business in, or just creating something that they're proud of because they want their legacy to be the impact they had in Gulfport too. And so they got a lot of self-starters. About that team I talked about.
You talked about it earlier. Yeah, you got to surround yourself. Birds of a feather flock together, and you want to be around successful, like-minded individuals.
Yeah. Well, these folks are, I don't have to tell them twice. And they do want to perform, and they see the results of their work too, and I hope our community does too. And it's easy to get sucked into that vortex of social media and Facebook where there's a lot of hateful people out there.
Oh, yeah. They're just bored, I think, and they'd rather. It's easier to go out there and try to destroy something than it is to build something.
And this, to be honest with them, for us, we're like, we're going to have you on. We want to have you on, and the way we want to present you as a person, as a real person. I'm blessed to have so much positive feedback on this because we're just waiting for somebody that wants to be negative. And guess what? No negativity. These next comments says, Caroline, which you called her nosy last time. You were super mean to her. Anything coming for Easter in Gulfport? Liz Galkey said, see you, that's our director. See you October 23rd, Mayor Hewes. Emily says, who do you contact to get involved with the community garden in Gulfport? Which is They're really cool.
David Parker, our economic developer, he really has taken that whole area and made it his own as far as the ideas, the dog park. I've kind of tasked him with it. And again, I haven't had to ask him twice. But tomorrow we're doing a drive-by Easter egg hunt, which, yeah. So go on the city's website. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow, and in advance of the weather. We usually at Jones Park, we have this huge, 2,000, 3,000 kids come out for this Easter.
I bet
Easter
that's a
egg
sight
hunt.
for eyes right there.
It is. You got a picture of that?
Come on, Mayor. Man, haters going to hate.
But we put thousands of eggs out, and we've got it segmented so kids that are, super young
Have their own, don't get run over by
They don't get
them.
run over by the bigger kids, and there's enough for everybody. Well, because of COVID, we can't do that right now. So we're doing a drive-by, and we're giving away until as long as supplies last. The other cool thing that happens especially for kids is not just our summer camps that we do, but the Cinema by the Shore.
Tell us about that. I've never heard of this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So usually once a month, sometimes more, but in the spring through the end of summer, we have free movies. We got a blow up screen down in Jones Park.
Wow.
And
That's neat.
When we lease movies to show down there, and we give popcorn away. And it's just kids and their parents will bring blankets and watch the movie and just have a good night out.
Man, I tell you, the world needs more stuff like that because, I mean, for one, I feel like family time's getting lost.
Yep.
And it's a generational thing, and it's kind of getting worked out.
Shout out to Kathy and Robert
just
Brooks
like-
being the only child.
Just like dinner time with your family, that used to be kind of
what's
a
that?
staple.
Right.
And now it's grab and go. Everybody's always, the kids got ball practice or, got supper club or whatever it may be.
Or they have an iPad.
Yeah, on an iPad. I mean,
So or worse, and give it to them in church. Come on, really? Golly.
So the world's losing. I think that I remember going on a vacation a couple of years ago. We were in Costa Rica. And I don't know if you ever got to go there. We went and did some fishing down there. Some of the best fishing I've ever done in my life. But we go to the beach every day that we were there and watch the sunset. And all the other families were there watching the sunset. Yeah. And I talked to one of the guys who's our
Mayor's Dog Park
fishing guide, and he was like, "This is what we do every afternoon. It's a family thing." Mm-hmm. And he had his two grown daughters that were in their late 20s with him, and they had their kids there, and they were all just sitting there. And I'm like, man, I admire this because this is something that I feel like the American culture is kind of just thrown through the wayside a little bit, or that people don't cherish what they used to cherish. So.
Well, and I'll tell you, you don't have to own a boat to enjoy what we have, whether it's fishing off Front Beach. But it amazes me still the number of people who have never, ever been to our barrier islands. And they are wild and beautiful and just they're just remarkable places apart and unlike anything else in the world. So if you get the chance to take that, the harbor, not the harbor tour, but the Ship Island,
excursion,
boat, or ride with a friend, the best boat.
Best boat's the friend's boat.
That's exactly right. And so, so I'll be calling y'all. All right.
All right, come on.
But you got to get to those islands. It's just they're just phenomenal, and they're not hard to get to.
Well, they moved the Ship Island excursion over to Gulfport a couple of years ago, didn't they? Isn't that in Gulfport now? Or?
It's been there forever, just about.
Okay, I thought
they used to have one running at Biloxi too.
Okay,
but the Gulfport location, I think, as long as I can remember back, we've always had it.
But they got two boats now, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're huge.
They may have three, but they got two for sure.
And like they built that whole dock out there at Ship Island pretty much just for that boat, right?
The Park Service did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did y'all have anything to do with that, or?
Oh, it's part. That is the Gulf Islands National Seashore is just that. It's really kind of a national monument, if you will. It's a natural.
So it's ran by the government agency.
Yeah, matter of fact, you go out there, you won't see police, but you'll see these dudes running around.
Oh, I've had them come run me off because I was parked too close to an osprey nest one time. Yeah.
So Caroline said, "Love you guys." Ricky Automon, Ward 2, Ocean Springs, just was with you a few hours ago. Love you, buddy. Thank you, Billy, for his contribute to MML.
So thanks, Ricky. That's the Mississippi Municipal League. It wasn't enough for them to get the anvil of me as president last year with COVID. They said, well, why don't you stick around another year?
Oh, man.
Okay.
I'm glad I got an upcoming president-elect for Rotary because I was hoping that they were trying to do that to me.
Well, I will tell you, you talk about a citizen legislature. We've got citizen mayors too, and it has been really one of the highlights of my career in life to be able to interact with these folks from all throughout the state, and everybody, just like our communities have their own personality, well, these mayors do too, and council members as well. And so the municipal league really does a great job of bringing together the voices for our cities across this state. And we've been able to coordinate not only meetings in Zoom calls with mayors and councilmen across the coast during COVID when it first started. We did it about once or twice a week for a running period of time, trying to figure out what the heck this was.
Right.
You know, you can read about a pandemic, but nobody living's been through one.
Right.
Okay. And so everybody's inventing stuff on the fly and trying to analyze. So you listen to, the political reports. More importantly, though, you're checking in with your hospital administrators and talking to doctors and nurses to get to what are you seeing, and then we have to make decisions on how far do we go with closures, with restrictions, with sanitation type stuff. And then we were able to coordinate with MML, regular talks with the governor and lieutenant governor as far as what we're seeing, what the needs are, how a one-size-fits-all doesn't always work, that we need to have the authority and the autonomy to do things locally, even if he does a blanket, that's where you start. But we may need to, strengthen ours depending on if we're having outbreaks in the area. So we were able to coordinate a lot of really good communication that I think ultimately made a difference.
Yeah.
Was it a lot? I mean, COVID, like you said, came out of nowhere. And to be a mayor and have to make them calls and make these decisions, I mean, because you're already focused on the city and the development of the city and make sure the city's running right and we're growing and people, And
then all of a sudden you get a curveball.
And then you got to make these decisions and you got different personalities come from here, there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's where the listening comes into play again. None of us have a monopoly on this, and we've got a lot of good leaders down here in particular, but really across the state. But I'll tell you, the coast has a leadership role to play. We're usually ahead of the curve. We usually have access to certain things, and we tend to think out of the box a little more. We're not bound by a lot of tradition. We have our traditions that we celebrate, whether it's Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's Day, or any number of things. So we're steeped in tradition, but we're not so closed-minded that we're locked into a certain mindset or way of thinking or seeing. And so that really, I think, played well. So and part of it is too, as the number 2 economic engine in the state, we tend to need to have our act together a little better because a lot of the other cities are going to look to see, what are they doing?
Yeah, you're the blueprint. You're the blueprint.
And so we kind of have to try to set the tone and keep the momentum going. And so on behalf of our sister cities, I was proud to play the role, but I promise you I had great input that helped me make better decisions for MML.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about your team. You already said it.
So we're guys, if you have any questions for the mayor, we're coming to an hour and 20 minutes. We're going to be here for a few more minutes. Absolutely inspired.
Now's the time.
Kenny Glavin said, "Good job, guys." Thank you, Kenny. That was a big thing. Is when
Thanks,
people
Ken.
go, our show is always going to be listening to something is going to be a conversation. It's where we keynote or scripted at all. I mean,
No,
we can't.
Not at all.
No, but guys, if you have any questions for the mayor, he's here. He's here. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Means a lot. You definitely got my vote. I live in the city. I'm actually, like I was telling Matt,
Man, I was sweating it.
well, every vote counts.
I spelled his name wrong whenever I texted him, so I was like, oh man, he's not going to come on the show now.
But every vote counts, and it's to see the commitment and love you have for the city is pretty dope.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I'll tell you, with Kenny calling in, I'm just thinking about just the mayors across the coast. Fofo is one of the most remarkable guys, and he's so much fun and so engaging.
Oh yeah, shout out Fofo.
Great company, and he's a musician. And
this picture I did get.
Yeah, well, he has never
That's
met
you, Fofo.
Yeah, he has never met a piano he didn't like and didn't pass up, and so. But you got Chipper over in the past, and they're about to have a change there. He's given a lot of dynamic service.
Well, what instrument does he play? Because all I can hear is Mayor Band coming up.
I'm not even. I need something. I'm not even touching it.
All right. Caroline asks, "Will the Mississippi Deep Sea Fishing Radio come back July 4th?"
Yes. Matter of fact, Cut Bait's playing.
Wow. You heard it. You heard it here. You heard it on Jordan Matthew, Kathy and his kids. Josh Brazier with the dope bike. Like if you ever guys, you ever want to go support him, he has the bicycle bar. We wrote it when we were in downtown Biloxi.
yeah.
We got some footage coming out because
It is
now we
cool.
got NBC mics.
Oh yeah.
So we run around and interview
Okay.
people. Just it's what we want to do. Check out Josh. Works at Hancock in Gulfport. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Hope it wasn't too painful, right?
It was awesome.
You
Yeah,
gonna
really.
come do it again
enjoyed
with us?
Yeah,
Oh, we're gonna close this out with the mayor's song, guys. So if you didn't know this, the mayor wrote this, and it's pretty dope.
Be good.
Take care.
Yeah, catch some fish.